How you doing? You already know this is Autism with Caxton, and my name is Caxton. And today on the show, of course, we always have surprises, amazing guests. And today I'm bringing somebody amazing. Her name is Kaitlyn. Hi, Kaitlyn. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
Good. So good to have you on our show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate the invite.
Yeah. So today we just want to try to go into some very vital things that happens as an immigrant, how you migrate from different countries, different experience, and today Caitlin is right here to share her own experience with us, right?
Yep, I'm here to share that.
Okay, guys, sit down, relax. We'll be right back as we go into details with what she has for us today. I'll be back with the show. Okay, guys, welcome back to Autism with Caxton. I'm going straight up with Caitlin. Let her give us a brief background, biography. You got to know about Caitlin a little bit. Sit down, watch. So tell us about you, Caitlin. Let's know, how did you move?
Yeah, of course. Basically, a lot of people misinterpret it, but I was born in the Philippines.
Ooh.
I came here when I was 4 years old. So I've been here since 2000. It's currently 2025, so this is going to be my 25 years in Canada. I think because of my accent, people don't think I'm from back home, but I immigrated here just like accent. But I'm assuming we have very different situations and how we adjusted to moving here. For me personally, I didn't really feel it because I was basically raised here. But I think feeling the effects of being raised by immigrant parents is kind of what we're going to get into today, and how that affected me growing up and stuff.
That's where we're going to next. So how many siblings do you have?
I have three. So I'm the oldest, and both of my siblings were born here.
Oh, your parents left you back in Philippines, come over here and give birth to your siblings, or did they come together with you?
No, they came with me. Yeah. So it was me and my parents that moved here together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Are your parents still here now?
Yeah, they're still here. We have a beautiful home and everything.
Oh, nice. Oh, guys, sit down, relax. We're gonna go into more interesting stories because experience is the best teacher, and Caitlin has experience. I'll be back. So, Caitlin, let's go straight up. Filipino, Canada, the transition. How was it for you and your family?
It was, I wouldn't say it was perfect, but better than certain conditions. Like we had each other, which was a big thing. But I think, first coming into Canada, I would say my biggest struggle was going to school and stuff, and my parents finding a job while I was in school. So, mind you, when you're 4, you're in preschool, right? So I was in preschool. I luckily had uncles and stuff supporting us. So while my parents were finding permanent jobs, I was going to school, and my uncles were in charge of dropping me off everywhere while my parents worked. Um, but that came with its own struggles because my parents wanted me to go straight into French immersion. So my first language is Tagalog.
Oh.
And then I went straight into French. So navigating, learning French before English was a lot. Like I got bullied when I was in kindergarten and stuff. So that was a big struggle. Like I couldn't even communicate to go to the bathroom, stuff like little things like that. Like my uncles were always late to pick me up because they were picking up their own kids and whatnot. And my mom she lost her degree. So she wasn't able to gain her college credits here. So she had to work nights while my dad worked days. They didn't want me in daycare at all. So they didn't want to pay for that back in the day and stuff. So they were trying to navigate getting our own house and everything and having me settle in and stuff like that. So
that's a lot. That's a lot. Trying to learn a new language, going from a different country, your certificate is not valid here. You have to start something different. What about a cultural shock? How was the cultural switch for you and your family in between?
For me, it was fine because I didn't really feel it because I like
As a kid, right?
at 4,
Mm-hmm.
like again with child development, like you just that's a good age to transition, I would
True,
say.
true.
As for my parents, my mom was again other than her like university credentials and stuff, she has pretty good English, so she was fine. It's just the type of work that she wasn't looking to have for the rest of her life, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
As for my dad, he actually had a certificate for like Toyota, where he was able to get a job right away, but his English is still terrible, like English.
Yeah.
So I would say it wasn't easy. And I believe at the time, the family we were staying with,
Mm-hmm.
um, at the time they had their own dramas going on. So they actually, I learned this very late in life, like in my 20s, but my one of my grandparents that are yeah, so we got cut off, but yeah, like we were staying with a family that was accusing my mom of stealing. He even planted like I think it was a necklace or some sort of
Oh,
personal item, and then tried to blame my uncle for bringing his family into the house and everything. But that got settled. Like I didn't even know about this until like my 20s, so obviously all of that drama was settled. But I'm sure it was very hard for my parents to settle into that. I think within a year, my dad was able to get our first apartment.
oh yeah.
So
Nice.
but again, that was back in the day when everything wasn't super expensive as it is now. So
Yeah. So looking at this, what do you think is the biggest challenge for you guys coming into the country? And yeah.
I would say obviously like school credentials probably because if you don't have the proper credits, you're kind of stuck going back to school if you want to continue your education. I don't know about you, but like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you have previous education, but I'm sure like there are some courses
You just
you
gotta.
need to retake and stuff. My
Mhm.
mom didn't have time for that because she had to raise me. My sister was born in 2001. She had heart defects. So like I would say like there was just a lot of like I don't know, like my parents were trying to navigate being newly married, having their first child. They got married in
Oh
what
yeah.
1996. Yeah, so like 4
Mm-hmm.
years, like first
Different.
5 years of marriage is probably like the hardest time.
Yeah.
You're in a new country, so I would say like they're probably facing so many mental health issues, but you wouldn't have known because back in the day, like mental health wasn't as
Yeah, that's a lot, new couples transitioning to a new place. Your 4 years, for first 4 or 5 years of marriage is the most difficult part where you try to know yourself, settle down and stuff like that. Oh
hmm
yeah, that's a lot. What about the food part? How did you guys adapt to the food? Because that's a long time ago, right? So I was
yeah.
thinking like, okay, is there those kind of food? You find the kind of food here? Do you adapt to the normal Canadian food?
Yeah, I would like my family loved Burger King, but I think even back in the 2000s, Filipinos were pretty prominent in Winnipeg already.
Okay,
So there was never a lack of community on like the Filipino part. Like there was already an established amount of Filipinos in
okay.
Canada. So I never felt a lack of community. And again, like I grew up in the Maples area of Winnipeg, and that's where all the Filipinos were. So
Great to know this.
yeah.
Guys, we'll go through more details with Kaitlyn. Sit down, relax. The show continues. So, looking at the cultural background here and in your country, right? And you've been raised here, and your parents actually were Filipinos, raising you in. Did they try to raise you the Canadian way? Like, I'm just trying to see that because I know the cultural difference is quite
hmm
there.
hmm
So, did you have a problem with that? Like, how did it go with you?
I'm actually super rebellious when it comes to Filipino norms and standards. I would say like the biggest thing was kind of just like how they raised me and how they were raised.
Mhm.
Both of my parents were the elder siblings. I'm the elder sibling, so they had a lot of like. There's this Filipino term called like utang ng loob, and it means that we owe our parents everything. And I don't
Mm.
know if like African background, like
Yeah, I think we have similar thing too.
Yeah.
We kind of attach ourselves to our parents, you know, kind
Yeah.
of.
Who would have thought I'd get you? Oh yeah, oh yeah, babe. Who would have thought I'd get you?
So still on the cultural part, you know, now that you're an adult, you've you're a Canadian, definitely, and you still have the Filipino blood in you,
Yeah.
definitely. So you've made your choices, right? And what do you think about? I'm not trying to say which is better, but as a
Hmm.
person, you make your choice, right?
Yeah.
So where do you stand in between these cultures? What's your own point of view? What do you choose? What do you think it's the right thing to do as your person?
Hmm. The bigger like Filipino values that I truly like appreciate is like our family values, all that kind of stuff, like our cultural, like we're always a community. We don't leave anyone
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
behind or anything. Those are ones that I will always appreciate because that's one thing I don't understand about Canadian culture. And like I think even probably like African um cultures, like if you're a stranger to us but we accept you as family, you're family from then on out. Like we're
True.
very
Yeah.
caring, we're very giving.
Mhm.
As for like Canadians, like you see it in the way they treat their siblings or their parents. Like sometimes they like completely cut off communication, and I will never understand that and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I would say the biggest struggles I have is probably just like it's the boundary thing. It's like that utang ng loob thing that I was talking about, like guilt tripping us like with certain things, like oh, like you need to clean because you owe me the cleanliness, where it's like no, like you should teach me how to clean because I have to do it,
Mhm.
not because I owe it to somebody to clean. Like it's just a good habit to have.
Yeah.
Just those like the things that make you feel that guilt in your brain to do things, and it's like no, like I don't need to do it for other people.
I have
I
to do it for myself.
for myself, and
My
like
choice.
obviously it's like it's good for me.
Mhm.
So like even working out, right? Like Filipinos have a huge thing with commenting on bodies. My aunts are very good with like they're my aunts are very kind, but I know it's a huge Filipino thing where we go to family parties. It's like, why don't you have a boyfriend? Why are you
Mm.
gaining weight? But then you have to eat all our food and stuff. So it's always just that opinionated thing where
Mhm.
it's like, mm.
Yeah,
And
I get it seriously. Yeah, so this difference is actually sometimes when you become educated, you understand what you need and what value works for you. You
mm-hmm,
understand? So I think yes, everybody has a choice to choose what value works for them in the society. You
mm-hmm,
know. Okay, guys, this is a good one. Know it. Make your choices rightfully. I'll be right back with Kaitlyn. Okay, Kathleen, this is very interesting for me, and this at this very part, this point of view I'm trying to bring up, it's talking about relationship, right?
mm-hmm,
You know, Canada is quite diverse,
mm-hmm.
you know, and you now being here, being a Filipino, um, are you open to any relationship? How do your parents see your choices when it comes to relationship?
Mm-hmm.
Like, just let's have this conversation in a way. This is what
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, I would prefer multicultural relationships.
I'm.
Um, I don't want to date a Filipino. One, because I don't want to marry into a toxic Filipino family, because I love my family, and again, like they can be toxic, but barely ever. Like they're pretty good, but I know Filipino families can be toxic and opinionated. So one, I don't want to marry into that. Also, in my opinion, the men in our culture are just they're so babied. So I'm like, I'm not trying to marry a man that's babied. If he's like confident and he can take care of himself, obviously that's different. I'm not opposed to any cultures, but I think like even going back home last year, um, I had a culture shock from so many Filipinos. I'm just like, I love my multicultural friends. Like we've had multicultural days. Like I love learning about other
Culture.
cultures and values and stuff. So I don't know. For me personally, like I don't think I'm gonna marry a Filipino, but I'm not opposed to it. Like it's just
So, do you need your parents to guide you in that? How will your parents see your choice? Yeah, is your choice, or
yeah.
are you still thinking about my parents having been involved in my choices?
Oh, I could not care. I could not care. But like obviously I want
Yeah.
them to approve of my person, but yeah, like they also don't really care if I marry like a Filipino or anything.
Okay, I
like,
think they support what you want right now.
yeah, yeah. Like as long as I'm happy, my parents are happy.
That's the great thing.
Yeah.
As long as one is happy, parents should support us to be happy.
Yeah.
As long as you train us rightfully to know the right and wrong, and we choose the right, we all need to be what? Happy at the end of the day.
And so, also like how would we feel if somebody was coming for our own culture and like, oh, I would never date like a Nigerian man. I'd be pissed because I'm like, no, we're great. Like so I can't say no to any culture. Like it's
Should I give you Nigerian man?
No, I'm okay. I'm okay. No, but like again, like I'm not opposed to it, but it's just like one of those things where, you know, you gotta.
So yeah, it's a good one. Good to know this, and I really appreciate the fact that yes, you are open-minded to diversity, which is what the country we are in is a diversified country with different culture, tribe, people from different places. You know, yeah, as far as there's understanding, everybody will live peacefully, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So one more last question from me, right? What's your advice to people who are migrating from one country to another country, Canada, Filipinos? Because we have similar stories, kind of, but different cultures. What's your word of advice to people like that? Young people, families, and from your experience.
Personally, in terms of adults, I have no advice to give because I wasn't an adult when I came here. But I think the one that I've noticed throughout my family, and we've brought a lot of immigrants in, I would say like if you're bringing a child that's like at like school level, like 8 to 18, 20, just make sure they get the mental health support. Because I think the hardest transition is for the kids that did not choose to move here. And they're leaving their friends behind, their life behind. I think that's the hardest thing. Like I know it's hard for the parents, but they're choosing that for their kid. So to make sure they have the mental health support, that's probably force yourself to get to know people. Like obvious, like if it's from finding your own communities, like go on Facebook, go on social media, find like Filipino groups, like African groups, whatever makes you feel. If it's religion, right? Like go to a church, find a church with people of your background or not of your background. But I think sense of community is like very important for all people that move and immigrants that move, is just finding like that ground to like step on so your family feels like they're a part of something.
That's a very beautiful one. Sense of community and guiding these children, their mental state because of the changes. Thank you so much, Kaitlyn, for this information. We appreciate, and all to Kaitlyn and our viewers, really appreciate your time here.
Of course. It was lovely being here.
Okay. All right, guys, enjoy. And this is the show. I'm Kaitlyn, this is Kaitlyn. Have a beautiful day.
Have a good day, guys.
.com